Welcome back to Decoy Court, where today we're covering more r/Am I the A-hole, with today's featured post being, Am I the antagonist for randomly buying a hamster? OP writes, I know this story probably seems stupid, but here we go. Yesterday, I, an 18-year-old female, was out shopping and I stopped in a pet store to look around. I saw this adorable little Syrian hamster that kept coming up to the window, and I decided to buy her. I had just gotten paid, so I bought all the stuff I needed like food and bedding. I had already had an enclosure at home from a past hamster and took her home within the hour. I posted about it on Twitter and I've gotten multiple messages about how I'm a crappy person and shouldn't get a pet I'm not ready for, ? The main person upset keeps telling me about how she sees hamsters getting returned or released to the wild all the time because the owner loses interest and that an animal isn't an impulse buy. I understand her point, but I've owned a hamster before, and I was fully prepared to make the 2+ year long commitment to its life. I responded by saying something along the lines of, thanks for the concern, but I'm prepared, and she absolutely blew up, saying I didn't know what I was talking about and I was going to mentally scar the hamster. She claims I needed to take 2 weeks to decide if I really want an animal or not, but for me, it doesn't take that long to figure out if it would work realistically. Am I the antagonist here? / should I have not bought the hamster like this? The only point I actually agreed with her was on the fact that I should have had an enclosure set up before I got home. But even then, it only took me about 10 minutes to clean and fill. So, we do it a little bit differently over here on Decoy Court. We take the case immediately over to Decoy Court so I can give you my knee-jerk reaction to the situation. And honestly, with this particular situation, it seems that they've had a hamster before, they had all the supplies, they know what they're doing as to how to make it happy and to raise it. This wasn't as an impulse buy as much as it was just something that they likely were going to do at some point in time, considering they still had the enclosure, they had gotten paid, they have all that stuff, and they've done it before, so they're not going to get like winded from it super quickly and just release the hamster out into the wild. This sounds like somebody just projecting their own feelings or their own failures of something they've seen, or just being a busybody overall to be able to say, hey, look, don't have this hamster because reasons that have nothing to do with OP. But also to take this case from Decoy Court over to the Decoy defense, where I try to give everybody their fair shake and see what would be the situation, the scenario where they would be the antagonist. What would be the opposite of the Decoy Court reasoning? And honestly, this situation over here where they said it was a, maybe an impulse buy, and they said, hey, look, I've seen animals being released in the wild or returned to the pet store, and OP's like, well, no, I already know it's going to be a 2+ year commitment. What if hamsters live to be like 20 years to 30 years in the wild, and they just say, oh yeah, I'm ready for a 2-year commitment, and they say, I've seen it before, not necessarily just in general. I've seen people release their hamsters or get tired of it after a couple of months or whatever. They've seen OP, actually this person right here saying, oh, I had the hamster and I got rid of it. It's only 2 years and I'm interested, then I let it go. And they've seen this happen with OP being impulsive and just cycling in and cycling out of what they want to do and just being kind of mean to the animals. So I could see that being the case, but just judging this case not by the theoreticals and the Decoy defense, because I'll tell you right now, the Decoy defense is absurdity. It's just made up stories in my head as we go along. I'm going to go ahead and say that OP is not the antagonist and their friend is just kind of somebody that is butting their head in to where it doesn't belong. So as always, what I want to do right now is if you guys like what I'm doing, make sure you subscribe down below, but also take a short break right here and let me know your thoughts as to who you think the antagonist was. Are they just butting their head in when it doesn't belong? Or is this something that, is a genuine problem within the hamster community? I don't even know if that even exists, but take a short break right now. Let me know your thoughts and let's go ahead and get over to those top comments. So the top comment is, so you have a friend that gatekeeps hamsters. Great, now I've seen it all. Not the antagonist. Reply to that saying, the gate is so small she has to use tweezers to latch it. Okay, so I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of hamster analogies right now. So the next top comment is, I mean, I wouldn't advocate buying a pet on a whim like that. You should 100% always do your research and make sure you can give them attention they need and that you can afford vet bills, etc. But you've already had a hamster in the past, so I'm sure you're aware. As long as you give that pet the best life and know how to care for it, you're not the antagonist. And the reply to that was, agree, if OP keeps a hamster healthy and happy for the rest of its natural life, then what's there to complain about? If OP returns it in a week, then clearly the person was right. I generally think the hater was right in saying you should put thought into pets, and I definitely wouldn't recommend this approach for most people. But OP can be conscious of that issue and make sure they don't contribute to the problem. Beyond that, no harm, no foul. And one thing that I could kind of plug into the Decoy defense over here is possibly, does OP have a collection of rare and exotic snakes, large snakes, hamster-eating snakes, where they're like, look, I know you have an enclosure for it, but what kind of enclosure is it? Is it an enclosure that includes, like, you know, just hamster care and hamster ball and like the little exercise wheel that they get and just having a good time? Or is it an enclosure that just eventually leads over to the snake tank, the terrarium, if I'm not mistaken? Is that the scenario? Is that why they're so concerned? So I could see that. But oftentimes in Decoy Court, the prosecution lies within the top comments and the defense lies in the controversial comments. So we have to see what they're saying over in controversial. The top controversial comment is not the antagonist. It's a hamster, not a macaw that can outlive you, or a puppy, which is a huge time commitment. Your friend was ridiculous. And the one reason I would think that that's why they got the controversial comment is because hamsters, just because they're small animals and just because it's like a parakeet instead of a macaw, a giant bird, or a fish instead of a dog, doesn't mean that you shouldn't still try to take care of that animal the best way possible. Just because it's a fish doesn't mean that he doesn't want company, that doesn't want to be hand-fed, or, you know, to learn tricks or to be entertained. It's not just, you know, different subsets and classes of pets. Like all of them deserve your full time and commitment. So the next controversial reply was, I would say I need more information. Is the enclosure and care proper? I can understand the person getting the impression of it being impulsive and improper if it's something like a critter trail. Hamsters need way more space and the care is kind of complicated. If you want to check, there are plenty of good care videos on YouTube or basic care. If you're caring for it properly, I'd absolutely say not the antagonist, but if it's a bad situation you make no effort to fix, then you're the antagonist. So we got some fair back and forth between the top comments and the controversial comments as to, yes, make sure you can take care of the hamster, make sure it's something that you're well situated for, but beyond that, who cares? Like, as long as it's something that they've done before and it seems like they have the money, the time, and the care for it, why do you need to gatekeep for somebody else's pet? Why do you have to even stick your nose in somewhere where it doesn't belong? Which is kind of what Am I the Antagonist is overall. I mean, if you've been kind of subscribed to the DecoyNoise, Decoy Court for any period of time, you realize that things have kind of evolved as we go on. So I mean, just go ahead and let me know if you like what we're doing right now, and if you want to see more videos just like this, make sure you subscribe, maybe you share it with somebody else, and also, sad to say, thumbnails staying the same right now. It's going to be this. So as always, if you like this video, watch more, but go ahead and just click the subscribe button or the other videos coming up now.